Space may be the final frontier, but before we go looking to the stars, perhaps we should look at the places that we inhabit and see how we can make them better. Now, one person who's trying to do this is Antonio Eraso. The Singaporean-based renowned architect is currently in the midst of reinventing himself and his company in order to design for the greater good, which sounds interesting, which is why he's this week's Person in Style. Live long and prosper. Transforming spaces is what Antonio Eraso does on a daily basis, from 6 million square foot mega complexes to the humblest of restaurants. His designs are something that people live and have to ultimately live with, which is why he never takes his work lightly. His firm, founded in 2003, is highly sought after for its aesthetic sense of instinct, uncompromising craftsmanship and grounded sensitivity. But now he's ready to take his craft to the next level to design environmentally sound and sustainable cities with emphasis on public spaces. Well, first up, welcome to Sony Style. How are you doing?
Thank you.
It's always nice having a show called Sony Style to actually have someone that designs stylish places, so it actually fits in the show quite nicely. First up though, Antonio, not exactly a Singaporean name. What brought you to Singapore? I hear you were working from a firm in New York. You came into town, you were working on Suntec City, but you decided to stay. Why? Chicken rice? Do you like sweating?
Well, definitely chicken rice and a little bit of sweating. No, I came back in 2000 because I thought the opportunities here were much more interesting than New York.
So what then attracted you to architecture? And what about architecture? That's sort of like, what is that one fundamental thing that really does it for you?
What attracted me to architecture was the scope of the involvement. You know, it's made out of an array of things and elements: cultural, financial, economic, personal preferences, etc.
Well, you mentioned scope there. Now your firm has quite a broad scope. I mean, you've worked on some immense projects and then sort of to the more boutique-y projects, but also down to sort of product and furniture design. So first of all, where do you find the time? And second of all, what aspects about what really attract you? Is there any you've got like a favorite?
Well, one makes time to do all these things, and definitely the week has 7 days, 24 hours, so that's plenty of time. But I think with life and with practice, you can kind of get to choose what you want. I think the creativity is found in every single component of our lives, so we tend to jump from one area to another. Favorite ones, furniture, definitely, systems.
So you got fingers in every pie then. So when it comes to a project, do you design not just the building, but the interiors all the way down to the doorknobs as well?
Right. Our favorite part of a project is where we design A to Z. The most complicated part of it is when you have to share the pie with somebody else. So we enjoy when we have
complete control.
Complete control. Call us control matrix.
What about mediums you like to work in? I hear you're quite a fan of wood, as I can notice there's lots of wood around me right now. So what is it about wood that you like?
The craft. You know, we just choose the material, not so much for the material itself, but the people behind. You know, the wood and the craft makes it more personal. It's a fantastic medium.
It's great. I'm hearing about actually that your firm's taking a bit of a new direction. And part of that is that you've hired a former mayor from Bogota in Colombia as the sort of director of special projects. Now, why have you hired a mayor? Right? And what's this new direction?
Oh, we just don't hire a mayor.
I know.
We work together. It was not an overnight thought. We've been discussing about the idea of intervention in cities. Asia is a fantastic place. We have half of the world population in this part of the world. Cities are growing, we need to plan them, so we have an obsession to make them right.
But then, you know, from that, planning a city, say from when you started off just from building a building, to move to building a city is a pretty big jump, you know. How do you go about sort of scaling up?
It seems so, but architecture is very logistic oriented. You have to think in multi-layers. You have a lot of people to work with, consultants, engineers. For city, the scopes are larger, but the mind frame is the same. There are 170 million people moving each year from the countryside to the city. That's about 130 people a minute. But we'd rather to be dealing with such issues rather than picking a color of a carpet or a curtain with a really difficult client.
I can understand that. But actually, you know, how do you fix something which is already there and it's broken?
Well, patience is the name of the game. You don't fix these problems overnight. It's in the hands of the government and more in the hands of private multinationals and institutions.
Well, good luck. Well, Antonio, thank you very much for being on the show. Guys, I'm going to send you guys off for a break, but don't worry, more Sony Style when you're back.